welcome to another episode of the Flashback Cartoon Hour. I'm your loving bald host with the most from coast to coast, Nick, the bald guy Lascola. And joining me today is a very special guest, Mr. B- from BminusTV.
Yo, what is goody? Thank you for inviting me on here. First of all, I'm an 80s baby, 90s raised me, so I'm hyped. I'm hyped to talk about, obviously our topic. But yeah, just to nerd out with you, man.
Dude, I'm so happy, and I'm glad you picked this episode. Today, we are doing Cow and Chicken, the 90s Cartoon Network series.
Mama had a chicken. Mama had a cow. Dad was proud. He didn't care how. Cow. Chicken. Cow and chicken.
And why don't you tell the listeners how you came about Cow and Chicken? What did this show mean in your childhood? Because I was a 90s kid, but I was 93, so I was more conscious near the end of the 90s, 97, 98, 99 kind of thing.
Yo, it's I feel like the 90s is like the golden era for humanity.
Oh my God.
It's just so weird to describe, but it's also amazing to even think about. For me personally, being a kid, coming home from school, doing homework, watching Cartoon Network. My family was a dysfunctional family, so we didn't eat dinner with each other all the time. So I would eat dinner, do homework, watch Cartoon Network. And I'm talking about old school Cartoon Network.
Oh, yes.
They weren't showing, they would show cartoons that weren't theirs. And then when they started to make their own cartoons,
I remember
that was
it,
the
dude.
peak right there. Yep.
Oh yeah, when they stopped showing Hanna-Barbera, well, it was still Hanna-Barbera for Dexter's, Johnny Bravo, and Cow and Chicken, but when they really started picking up the pace and pumping out their own, Billy and Mandy and Evil Kung Carney and kind of stuff like that. Awesome.
Yeah, Dexter's Lab, Johnny Bravo, Courage the Cowardly Dog, which I'm pissed that I couldn't get that episode.
Dude, I know, it's literally the first one. My wife wants to join up on the show, and she was like, "Can we do Courage?" And we had just finished it. We're gonna try and get it out for October, the spooky season.
You gotta do Courage for this time of year. It's impossible. But that's the original 5 right there is Courage. Cow and Chicken, Dexter's Lab, Johnny Bravo, and Powerpuff Girls, I believe.
Yes. Yep.
And that's insane because Hanna-Barbera's style of cartoon with Johnny Quest, Wacky Races, that old school, and then to just jump to some shit like Cow and Chicken. I wonder in the executive room who was the person that greenlit that, because that's a huge jump from the old or original style of cartoon that they were doing.
So I've been listening to a lot of interviews with David Feast, who created the show, and he was talking about how he actually worked on Ren and Stimpy, and I know a lot of people compare the two of these shows, and me personally, I would say this is a little more similar to Rocko's than it is Ren and Stimpy, but they're all in that realm of weird, just kind of out of pocket, trying to push it, which was the 90s in general, trying to push as much as they can.
Chef's kiss right there. You didn't have to worry about being canceled for shit. They definitely showed shit to us kids that you would never get away with right now.
No, it's almost sad because you're that built us up for this. We know how to have a sense of humor.
It really did. I mean, I could see those 3 cartoons are the weirdest one. I would say Rocco is the less weirder one, even though there were still some adult themes that were in that shit as well.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mrs. Big Head with the freaking massive jugs. But
and the sex line and
yeah. But I definitely see a lot of similarities, and that's why I kind of put those two up, which is Cow and Chicken and Ren and Stimpy. Is because it's like brother and sister with Cow and Chicken. Ren and Stimpy were roommates, right? I don't know if they weren't related. Yeah, I think they were just roommates.
No. They were definitely just roommates. They just kind of lived in the house.
and you had like the dumb big one and the skinny, still kind of dumb, but like I guess slightly more intelligent than the other one.
Little egocentric too.
Yep, and they would kind of like, the little skinny one would boss the bigger one around, but then the bigger one would like do shit to like break reality and still, I guess, like almost have like authority over the situation. I don't know. It's so weird, but like that's the shit that made us like who we are. That's the 90s right there.
And it's crazy because throwing it back to Hanna-Barbera and what you said, like how it was extremely at like just out of left field for them to do a show like this. And in a sense, it was always kind of there in a way, because like even back in the day when they did like the Flintstones originally was meant as an adult cartoon. It aired on prime time, which was like 8 o'clock or something like that. Maybe 11. It was pretty late for kids, you know what I mean? And then you go back and you actually watch it, and then they had little hidden jokes in there too. But you don't expect it because it's the Flintstones.
So my understanding, and this could be a rumor, like whatever, but my understanding was like back in the day, because there was only one TV and all of the family would surround around the TV, that they had to incorporate adult kind of like slick one-liners or maybe like underlying themes to make it entertaining for the adults, but then it's also a cartoon, like, so that's my understanding. I don't know if that shit's true, but whatever. But I can understand a reality where that makes sense for a lot of corporate people who want to make cartoons and have all of the family watching the same shit at the same time.
And it's a big thing that I've been hearing too, that like a lot of parents are saying about cartoons nowadays, where like cartoons nowadays are like clearly meant for just kids. You know what I mean? There's nothing in it for the adults. And before, they used to mesh a little everything. The jokes would be over the kids' heads before, and now there's just nothing in there. So if you are sitting there watching it with your kid, you're just like, I don't know. But I don't have the kids, so
yeah, you don't have the kids yet, but like I trust me, I watch a lot of fucking like new kid shit right now, and a lot of it is definitely to kids. But then that also begs the question, is like, yo, do we just like the kid cartoons that we grew up with just because we grew up with that shit and it's nostalgic and it gives us almost like a dopamine spike when we watch it because it brings us back to our childhood? Or is it really that, those cartoons were made for adults and kids, and like that's why we can watch that shit now and we can't watch the newer shit now? I'm always kind of like toying with those two ideas. It's like, yo, I can't tell which one is which. But yeah, let's get back to Cow and Chicken. We got to give Cow and Chicken some love.
Yeah, so Cow and Chicken is an American animated comedy television series created by David Feast for Cartoon Network and distributed by Warner Brothers Domestic Television Distribution. The series was produced by Hanna-Barbera Cartoons. In fact, along with I Am Weasel, it is the last original Cartoon Network show to be entirely produced by Hanna-Barbera Cartoons. The series ran for a total of 4 seasons, 52 episodes, and 104 segments. It ran on Cartoon Network from July 15, 1997 to August 13, 1999. Originally, Cow and Chicken was attached to the previously mentioned segment I Am Weasel, which was later spun off into its own half-hour series on June 10, 1999. Cow and Chicken was nominated for 2 Emmys and won 3 Annie Awards. The original pilot appeared as an episode of the animation showcase series What a Cartoon, also known as the Cartoon Show. They did a couple of name changes there. Yep. But Feast submitted 3 ideas to executive producer Larry Huber, one of which was Cow and Chicken. Later, Hanna-Barbera decided to turn Cow and Chicken into a full series, following many letters from fans asking for more. According to Feast, he first came up with the idea of a talking cow and chicken a few weeks before pitching it to Cartoon Network. Originally, it was a bedtime story Feast came up with for his daughter after being too tired to turn the light on to read an actual book at night. After telling the story, he drew it out like a book to continue telling his daughter over and over again, while also using that same book to pitch to What a Cartoon as a short, soon to be turned into a show. The story that he told his daughter originally had Cow and Chicken as friends that grew up together and had more of a boyfriend-girlfriend type of relationship. After high school, Chicken leaves to go try and make it in Hollywood, but he would fail and returns and rekindles his friendship with Cow. Once Cartoon Network got involved, Feast decided it was better for the story if they were brother and sister, simply because he thought it was a sillier concept. And so with that, I figured I'll go into a synopsis of the show itself. The series focuses on the misadventures of two unlikely yet somehow biological siblings. The sweet-natured, dim, ecstatic, anthropomorphic Cow and her cynical older brother Chicken. The two often are caught in escapades with their flamboyant enemy, the Red Guy, a comical version of the devil himself who disguises himself under various personas. Usually
Had a lot of ass.
Oh, always. And it's always a play. Every name is like a play off of just being pantsless.
Yep.
So he would usually either scam anyone around or just for the fun of it. The voice cast in this show is unbelievable. Probably one of the best voice casts of all the shows I have already reviewed, because every single person, there's not a lot of people on here, but the people who are on here are just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the voice acting world, especially back then, it's almost like everybody's related. Like you always see like the same circle of voice actors on Nickelodeon shows, Cartoon Network shows, Disney shows. So it's so cool seeing that.
And one cool thing, too, I do want to point out is that, we have previously done a Dexter's episode. We've previously done a Johnny Bravo's episode. And with the creators of those shows, Van Partible for Johnny Bravo and Gendy Tartakovsky for Dexter's, they start these series and then something happens, and usually a season or two, they end up leaving. Van Partible ends up coming back for Johnny Bravo. But one thing I was really impressed with is that David Feast does the entire series. He produced, made all the episodes. It was like his show from start to finish.
That's good. I always want the creator to just stay with their shit for the whole time, because then when shit changes, you could tell like somebody wants to come in and give like a fresh new take, and you could always tell the difference.
Oh my God. And with the Dexter, especially because they did like a whole animation change. They went more from like that hand-drawn animation to like the computer animation.
Yeah.
Not to mention the original voice of Dexter ended up retiring, so they actually had to replace her with Candy Milo, who we'll talk about in here because she does play both mom and the teacher. Okay. But let me go into, do you want to maybe go tit for tat? I'll read one bullet and you read another bullet for these?
Yeah, sure.
Here, you can start off with Cow, Chicken, and do Charlie Adler.
All right, cool. Forgive me for my reading capabilities, ladies and gentlemen, but voice cast for Cow, Chicken, the Red Guy, and IR Baboon, all voiced by Charlie Adler.
That is no place for boys. There are things that go on in the girls' bathroom that boys just would not understand. Dear Cow, I'm coming! I got gas!
Hello! Run away to join the circus. Well, you've come to the right place. Come with me, ladies. What are you staring at? Never seen a guy butt walk before? I baboon, big shot for change. Me first for change. Me famous for change. Me.
Who has also voiced such characters as Lowlight on G.I. Joe, Rowdy Piper on Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling. Shout out to Rowdy Piper. Trigger Happy on Transformers. Eric Raymond on JEM. Captain Caveman Jr. on The Flintstones Kids. The Cowardly Lion on Diggs, The Wizard of Oz. Buster Bunny on Tiny Toons. That's a legendary cartoon right there. Ed and Bev Big Heads on Rocko's Modern Life, and took over as a voice of Felix the Cat in season 2 of the Twisted Tales of Felix the Cat.
Charlie Adler is just like, and I'm definitely going to play a clip of his voice. It's just so iconic, and the minute you hear it, you know it, especially because more than likely he is screaming at the top of his lungs.
The range of different, I don't know all these characters, but like Buster Bunny, to go from Cow and Chicken to the red guy to Buster Bunny to Felix, like that's insane range right there.
Iconic
Yeah.
roles.
I wonder, I could hear Ed Big Head in the red guy, most definitely. I could
120,000%.
hear that.
Yeah, it's a little more flamboyant Ed, you know.
Yeah, but Bev, I didn't know that those were the, that is insane.
Yeah.
Insane to play a husband and wife with such weird, distinct, raspy, like, I don't think Ed's was really raspy. Bev's was definitely raspy. I feel like I'd blow up my voice box.
Oh my God, it's great listening to him do interviews because like just in the middle of the interview, and especially if you're not doing a visual and you're like listening like I do, just to hear him like in the middle of a conversation snap into one of these previous characters. He did a podcast with Ron Paulson, the guy who plays Pinky from Pinky and the Brain.
Okay.
He has a podcast and he brought Charles Adler on and they read a scene from Mission Impossible 3 as
fire.
Cal and Carl from Jimmy Neutron.
That's fire. I love when voice actors do shit like that.
Oh, dude, it was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah. So I'll go into the next one. Next we have Mom and the Teacher, both voiced by Candy Milo.
Well, the next thing you know, he'll be shaving his waddle. They grow up so fast. Let that be a lesson to you little. Being a bully is bad and
Like I said, we have previously talked about Candy on our Dexter's Lab episode, as she was the one who took over for Dexter after Christine Cavanaugh left in season 3. She has also voiced Sweetie Pie in Tiny Toon Adventures, Nick Dean in Jimmy Neutron, Mrs. Wakeman in My Life as a Teenage Robot, Crystal in Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders, and as Madame Foster, Coco, and Cheese in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
It's crazy. A lot of these, obviously, Dexter, yeah, it's crazy, like the range. And again, somebody else who was on Tiny Toons, I guess, definitely at the same time as Charlie was.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope, man. I want to be a voice actor, but I feel like I need to get in like an easy role. Like I need to be like a bum or like a crack dealer, like something that's not like too serious or too mean. Like I know I could be fire.
Oh, dude. Yeah, and you got such a nice like radio, like, you know what I mean, like sound and voice that like I think you would do real well with it. I've also wanted to do one, and when I'm in my mail truck in the middle of the day, I'm like, I always picture the scenario of them being like, all right, we need a Billy Goat. What would be your best like human Billy Goat sound voice? And like I'm trying to sit there, and people probably think I'm waiting in my meal truck just going.
You gotta record it. I know one voice actor through social media. He's actually nice. Like he does like all like the anime style stuff. And I was like, if I close my eyes, you sound like an anime character. You sound like I'm watching an anime. I've never heard anybody sound like this in real life that isn't already a voice actor, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Is he like trying to pursue it?
Yeah, I mean he is. He's on a couple of things. I can't like remember the exact names. Like if I look it up, like I'll know. But yeah, like he started off just like in his freaking mom's basement, just like recording and dubbing animes that are already made, but with his voice.
Oh,
and I'm like, yo,
sick.
like you got the voice like down pat.
That's awesome, dude. We got to get him to start like dubbing some of the old ones and bring like a fresher voice take to it. Have like Kimba the White Lion or something.
I would be so interested if he could do like the American type of cartoons. That shit would be fly.
Oh yeah.
The dad, voiced by D. Bradley Baker.
Mom, looks like our son has started molting.
Oh.
He's becoming a man.
He has also voiced such characters as Daffy Duck and Tasmanian Devil in Space Jam, Bagheera in Jungle Cubs, OG in Mike, Lou, and Og, Oh, Og, duh.
Yeah.
Og and Mike. I'm black, so when I see an OG, always got to say OG. But Og and Mike Lewin Sunday and the Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald. Ronald McDonald? He had his own.
Yeah,
TV show?
dude, have you never seen those? So
Never.
I've been wanting to do an episode about these. There was a whole series back in like the late 90s that if you got like a Happy Meal and stuff, or you would go into McDonald's and you would buy it, and there was VHSs that would come. And each VHS had a different adventure of Ronald McDonald.
Gotta check this out. Oh shit. All right, cool. Squilliam, Fancy Some, and Bubble Bass from SpongeBob. Cinderblock and Plasmus in Teen Titans. Number 4 in Codename Kids Next Door, another legendary cartoon. How did I forget about that? And as Appa and Momo in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh yeah, this a fire voice actor right here.
Bruh. And like, let's just think about that for a second too. This man went from Mike Lewin Og to Daffy and Tasmanian Devil. He's the voice of Dad in this series. But to have number 4 and then the Appa and Momo from Avatar, that's fucking out of this world.
His range is crazy because to go from Dad, which Dad sounds like a normal, to Og to Plasmus, and yeah, that's crazy. Plasmus and Cinderblock, holy shit.
Yeah.
Number 4, Appa and Momo, they just make sounds. So
yeah, but still, when you like sit there and you think of the noises that Appa's making, you're like,
yeah,
that's number 4. Like
that's fucking talent. That's talent and range, and of course Tasmanian Devil. We know Daffy Duck is a legendary voice. Like when you think of voice acting, like Daffy Duck has to be at least top 15 maybe, or top 10 of the most iconic cartoon voices of all time.
Originally done by Mel Blanc, and a cool little connection story to that is originally when they had a bunch of different people come and like test out to do Cow and Chicken and the Red Guy. But when Charlie Adler came in, and he tested for all 3 of them, the creator was like, no, I want him for all 3 parts. And I guess he got some pushback from the producers, the Cartoon Network, and they were like, oh, no, it would have been Hanna-Barbera at that point. But Hanna-Barbera was like, oh, dude, I don't know. We got other actors. You can't just do 3. And then he's like, well, Mel Blanc did it for the Looney Tunes. Why can't he? But a cool thing is that, like, with Charlie Adler, a lot of his characters are like Mel Blanc, where they're kind of like the same, but a little layered on top of each other.
Yeah, that's dope. Well, if we could pause real quick, what would you say is like your top 10 cartoon voices of all time? Like most iconic cartoon voices of all time?
I would say, let me think. I would say it would be, oh my God, why can't I think of his name right now? Goliath, Spawn, oh my God. Keith,
Keith, I know you're talking about.
Oh my God, I keep wanting to say Keith Urban, and that's Judge Dredd.
Keith David.
David, that's it.
Yeah.
Dude.
I always want to say David. I always get like all my Davids mixed up. But yeah, Keith David. So which character that Keith David does would you say is the most iconic?
I would say, for me personally, Gargoyles. In the era I grew up with, I was Gargoyles. I didn't get to watch Spawn till a lot later. Just because, like, where the age I was born 93. So by the time that show had come and gone, you know, I had to wait a while.
I was born 98 and I still had to sneak watch that. So yeah.
As badass as it is, but every time Goliath drops down and he just talks with that voice smooth like butter, I'm like, oh my God, that is a badass man right there. I would also say Mark Hamill.
Okay.
Just everything. He's just, and it's so shocking too, because like everyone's like, oh, Luke Skywalker, but no, dude, I knew him as not only Luke, but as the voice of the Joker, and no one has come close as a voice of the Joker. A lot of people have tried.
You got to give respect to his daddy, James Earl Jones, as Mufasa and Darth Vader.
I was getting there, dude, especially with recently R.I.P. Oh my God,
Yes.
dude. It's another person whose voice is just so smooth. And ironically enough, I also Michael Dorn has really the more stuff that I've listened to him in, and he's in this show as Weasel. We'll go into that, but like he's another one whose voice is just so epic and awesome.
Okay.
So I think that puts me at 4, and
We could keep it at 5. We don't gotta go crazy.
yeah, I would think that my last one would probably be. This is a tough one because there's so many, and I've been picking, but I haven't done any anime or anything like that. I think I might go to Steve Bloom. If is that his name? Yeah, Steve Bloom, the voice of Tom from Toonami. He was
Toonami,
also
ooh.
Cowboy Bebop. He was Spike Spiegel in Cowboy Bebop. Just like an iconic.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking putting anime because then that opens the floodgates for so many iconic anime voices, and like
my God,
like I could think about the Japanese and the English version, so I'm not even gonna touch that right now. I'll keep it like strictly like American shit. I'll just do the cartoon characters.
Mhm.
I'll say that like you got to put Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny. Like
yeah,
they
Mel
gotta
Blanc.
be.
Yeah, it's
gotta
just
be.
Mel Blanc. Just the fact that he voiced like 20 different Looney Tunes, Foghorn Leghorn, Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny, Sylvester. It's just on Tweety. You're like, oh my God, dude. And just was able to talk to himself in a studio for so long is fucking awesome.
I gotta do those. I gotta put SpongeBob in there for longevity.
Tom Kenny, yes.
Bro, I got to. He that voice is iconic. You could put that on. Every generation is gonna know that voice.
Mm-hmm.
That leaves me with 3. This one is gonna be for me. This may not be on everybody's list. I gotta put Regina King as Riley and Huey from the Boondocks. She does both of their voices, and I remember when I found this out, my mind. First of all, when I found out that she was the voice of both of these characters, my mind was already blown. Then I found out that she did both of them, so I'm like, wait a minute, you're having a whole conversation with yourself as 2 brothers, like one's a little bit more lower pitch, one's a little bit more higher, but it's kind of like the same, but they're
and still have such a personality to both of them is fucking amazing. So
insane.
Good, dude. Great list so far. Great list.
Insane. I mean, there's so many characters, so many people.
You got to go Frank Welker. Just the guy who played. He started off as Fred from Scooby-Doo. He's the only character. He's the only guy to this day who still voices his original character. Then he went on.
Well, that's crazy.
He took over the role of Scooby-Doo, and now he voices both of them. And then he so originally Don Messick was this guy who was known for doing a lot of like different animal parts and different animal characters. He was like Scooby-Doo originally. Then he was Snively the dog from Wacky Races. And so Frank after Don Messick passed away, Frank kind of became Hanna-Barbera's like go-to guy, or just cartoons in general. Hey, we have this weird animal. We need you to voice it. Get Frank Welker on the phone.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah, there's so many people. And you know what? Now I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, I might have to take Mickey Mouse out. I may have to take Bugs Bunny out. I gotta put, like, if I can't put Robin Williams in there, if I can't put, Mark Hamill also has to go in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was watching Fern Gully with my kids, and I'm like, yo, Robin Williams was like a once-in-a-generation talent right there, bro.
Oh,
Genie,
my God. Yeah.
The Bat from Fern Gully, like, all of the movies that he was in, bro. Shit. Yeah, it's hard to make the list. I could put so many people. Like you said, Goliath, legendary voice. Like, Keith David, like, he's done so many characters that are just, like, mind-blowing.
It was just like you sat down as a kid and like the minute they spoke, you were like, that's a fucking man.
Yes.
You're like, that is a dude. That is someone I'm going to try and be.
You felt like Goliath could like take over all of New York City with just his voice. Yeah.
If I heard that voice flying around my head just telling us like, I'm watching you, I'd be like, I'm on my best behavior from the rest of my life.
Yeah, insane. I wonder how his kids are. His kids definitely fell in line when they heard that voice.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
All right. So, and let's get into it. I Am Weasel is voiced by Michael Dorn, another silky smooth voice.
Oh, thank you for saving my life, Mr. Weasel. Without the kidney you gave me, I would have been a goner.
I would have donated my kidney whether you needed it or not, sweet child.
Dorn is most famously known for his role as Lieutenant Worf in the Star Trek franchise. He has also voiced such characters as Kraven the Hunter in MTV's Spider-Man the New Animated Series, Cold Stone and Taurus in Disney's Gargoyles. So I need to go back and listen to that episode that has both of them talking to each other. Gorgon in the Fantastic Four, the 1994 series, Calabac and Steel, John Henry Irons in Superman the Animated Series, who Steel is one of my favorite comic book characters of all time, and just to have him voice that character was finding that out. I was like, it all makes sense now. All my brain memories start come flooding in. I was like, oh my God, dude, that so is him. He's Weasel. And then he was also the Warrior King, who we talked about on our Savage Dragon episode.
all right, we got Phlegm.
And then your tongue will swell and swell to 16 times its normal size.
Voiced by Howard Morris. Morris is a Hanna-Barbera legend who has also voiced such characters as Mr. Pebbles on Marilla Gorilla, Beetle Bailey in the Beetle Bailey series, Adam Ant on the Adam Ant Show, legendary fire show right there, Dr. Dome in the Plastic Man comedy adventure show.
Previous episode we have done.
Okay. Plastic Man. I feel like if I see all of these, I'll instantly remember them. And as Jughead, Moose, and Dilton in the Archie Show. That's like an old school.
Oh yeah, that's like some sugar. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, honey.
Yeah, man. And, Adam Ant, I always loved.
He did a lot more too. He did Flintstones, Jetsons, Wally Gator. I just didn't want to list every single one because both these guys. It's just weird that both of Chicken's best friends happen to be voice acting royalty. And when I was listening to David Feast talk about them on different podcasts, different YouTube interviews, he was like, yeah, they came in and these voice acting legends. And I was like, of course I'm going to have you on this really silly show about a cow and chicken that basically beat each other up.
It's so funny. I wonder how they would react to being on shows like this that are kind of, wholesome, to being on some shit like Cow and Chicken where it's they're eating ass cheeks for dinner. Cow and Chicken are just eating fucking pork butts and ass cheeks, and it's just a regular thing.
You kids ready for some pork butts and taters?
Are we?
Any chance, dude. There's so much ass in this show. It's just any chance to get ass, and then for them to say weenies, they just think that is the funniest thing. There's so many weenies.
Oh, big hand, come down from above.
And because your weenie the one that I love.
I think that's why I'm an ass guy right now, is because of 90s cartoons, especially Cow and Chicken. That's literally all you see.
They raised us to be that way,
ass.
dude. It's in the system.
I think the red guy, I think he's got the first BBL, because his ass was it had no business being that fat in this child's cartoon. Come on, man. Come on, it's so crazy.
Oh yeah, and just when you think Cow has a pretty Cow has a pretty unique ass, and so does IR Baboon. But then when the red man, red guy shows up and he's bouncing on his cheeks, you're like, damn.
Yeah, exactly. And it's Baboon, he's an animal. Cow's an animal, and she's also mad. Get those out of here. But the red guy, for some reason, first of all, he was an adult with no pants on throughout this whole children's series. It's like,
and constantly references that he's naked. Like they openly reference it.
Mm-hmm.
Even Chicken, like other characters openly, like I remember one episode, Chicken at the very end of the episode when they're sitting down at the table, he's like, hey man, thanks for saving me from that naked red guy, honestly. Like, and I was like, yo, so they know that he's naked too.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks again for saving my butt back in the past with that naked guy and that whole primordial soup thing.
It's so funny. Did you know that the creator of this show, David Feist,
Yeah.
his cousin, Sam Keith,
I'm glad
is the
you brought
fucking
this
comic book creator for the
of
Max.
the Max. Yes.
That's crazy. First of all, I think I've maybe read like one like issue of the Max or whatever, but I had the trading cards and I had a lot of holographics. So I would like look at the characters, like read the bios on the back and shit like that. And I was like, yo, these two are like cousins. Like, I think I saw in an interview somewhere, like they used to draw
on the
like,
same at the same studio.
Well, even before that, when they were kids, they were just drawing their fucking house. Yep. And then they went from like, yo, I'm drawing the fucking animation for Cow and Chicken, and he's in the other room drawing the fucking pages for the Max. Like, that's fire right there.
That's so sick. And then like later on down the line, they would come back together and they had the same studio. I was listening to an interview and Feast was like, yeah, no, like I would use this on this many days, and then he would come over and he would use it, and it was just sick. I was like, dude, I've always seen the Max. I've wanted to, one, do an episode on it because it is an animated series, and then two, I'm a big comic book guy, so I've always I wanted to check out the comic book too.
That's fire. That's fire. I'm like broadening my horizon with comics. Because like I love, like I'm more of like the cartoon like video game like guy. I did read some comics, but like I didn't read like enough to actually like go to the comic book store, like get the comic books like in order and shit like that. Like I would just have like the onesies and twosies and read them, not finish the story, like all of that shit. So I have like so many holes in what I know of Marvel and what I know of DC or like everything. So like now, since I'm older and I'm like being a content creator, I'm like, you know what, fuck it. Like, let me just like start from scratch and just like read like a comic book a night.
Literally.
And like, brush up on shit.
Okay, so I think we're on Earl right now.
Yep.
Earl is voiced by Dan Castellaneta.
First, your beak will begin to shrivel, then it'll just kind of fall off. I don't even want to say what'll happen to your waddle.
Dan is most famous as the voice of Homer Simpson in The Simpsons, but he also voices Grandpa Simpson, Barney Gumble, Krusty the Clown, Groundskeeper Willie, Arnie Pie, Itchy, Mayor Quimby, Kudos, and Sideshow Mel. Dan has also voiced characters outside of the Simpsons media, including Dynamo Duck and Megavolt in Darkwing Duck, Dr. Emmett Brown in the Back to the Future the Animated Series, the Robot Devil in Futurama, Grandpa in Hey Arnold, and as Earthworm Jim in the self-titled Earthworm Jim series.
Holy shit. And see, that's why it's hard to pick top 5, because now I'm forgetting about Homer Simpson and Bart Simpson. Iconic voices right there. Yeah, it's tough to pick the most iconic.
I knew that I knew that Dan had voiced all those characters in The Simpsons. What I didn't know was all these, like, this is just stuff I learned in the research for the episode, but like the Robot Devil made sense. I was like, he's got to be in Futurama somewhere, but Grandpa from Hey Arnold, that whole like high-pitched voice is wild. Can't even think about it. Earthworm Jim, I never got to watch growing up, but I always wanted to because I would see trailers for it on my VHSs. And I'm like, damn, that show looks good. I play the video games on the Sega. That's all I want to fucking watch right now.
Fire video game. Fire.
Oh my God. That first one, dude, with the cow level and all that is just one of my favorite. I'm a Sega kid. And like I just grew up with I grew up with both. Sega, Nintendo mostly, and then later on in life came the PlayStation 2 and stuff. But what I remember mostly Sega Genesis, and I had a Super Nintendo.
Those are the first two that kind of like launched video games trajectory. Like obviously there was Nintendo, but like
Yeah, and
once
the
Super
Atari and,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
like ColecoVision, but mostly it was
Yeah.
like those two that had the bangers of bringing them back.
Yeah, no, like what the like there's really no like iconic outside of Nintendo obviously, but for all of those other ones before Nintendo or around, there's no iconic characters for it. Nintendo, Super Mario, Zelda,
They were the first
Donkey
one
Kong.
to do it.
And then when Sega comes into play, you know, we got Sonic, like, you know, the whole battle of the systems. And I feel like most people that I know had both systems, but yeah, it's like you said, some people gravitated to other. For me, I feel like even though I loved both, I do feel like I was more of a Super Nintendo kid. Super Mario World, probably my most favorite game of all time.
Oh my God. Yeah. I would say I did love that one. I do have very, very special memories of that one. If you know, and it was funny because I'm the older brother in my family. So even though I was the older brother, I always wanted to be Luigi because I was like, oh, he's taller, and I'm the taller one out of me and my brother. And I was like, Luigi,
Green's my favorite color.
Yeah, it's like green color swap. Let's fucking go, dude.
Yep.
Not in Sonic though. My brother, I was like, "You bitch, you're gonna be Tails.
You're gonna be Tails. Yeah, you're gonna be Tails."
And a cool thing
like,
with oh no, continue.
No, I was gonna say I feel like nobody wanted to be Tails, but if we really think about it, Tails could fly, and flying in video games
could die
is like
numerous
elite.
times.
Yes, yeah, Tails was definitely a fire character that got a lot of hate back then, but I feel like Tails is like good now.
Oh yeah, and it's cool. One thing I kind of equate the whole Sega Nintendo rivalry to the Cartoon Network Nickelodeon rivalry. And when I say that, I mean it in the sense that like Sega was always like the bad boys. It was like, you know, Sega showed the blood. Sega got away with more. Sega had the more. They were like the cool kids wearing the leather jacket kind of stuff. And then Nintendo
It was all black. It was all black system.
You know, and then Nintendo was the narc that literally was like, teacher, they're showing blood in their video games. And then, you know, we got all that. In a way, you could say Nickelodeon was like the Nintendo as it was the safer of the routes. Not saying that they didn't push their limits, but I just felt like Cartoon Network had more of an edge to it, especially in the 90s.
Had more of an edge. First off, I would say Ren and Stimpy had the most edge out of anything that came out of Cartoon Network. If I'm being
Nickelodeon,
honest.
you mean?
No. I mean Cartoon Network.
Oh yeah, no. I would put Ren and Stimpy top dog, and then I felt like they were like, oh, we can't do that ever again.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, then they started to tame themselves.
Yeah, I would go Ren and Stimpy, a whole bunch of Cartoon Network shows, and then who could I put here? Maybe like Rocko's Modern Life or some shit like that.
I would say Rocko's just because they were, you know, the censors and them going down to heck and not hell and stuff like that.
Oh yes, I do remember that. Yeah, yo, there's so many things that are similar between those three cartoons. Rocko's Modern Life,
and especially because when we talk about the pilot of this episode and all the fuckery that came with that and the studios and what they could and couldn't do, and they're like, no, we can't show this to the southern part of America because they're super.
Yo, that's funny. I didn't even think of that. And it's funny because I live in the South now. And like, you don't get it living up north. Like, you don't get that. Like, obviously we hear it's like everybody's like religious and shit like that. Like, even like my family member, when I used to come down to North Carolina to visit in Charlotte, like my grandmother would always take us to church. But like, you know, she was old and most of the people in church were old. But like now, me living in North Carolina, I see people that are my age or even younger, heavy churchgoers. And I'm like, yo, shouldn't y'all be out like partying, doing blow, like all of this?
Yeah.
They're like, nah,
having
like,
regrets for later in life.
Yeah. They're like, no, I'm 24, 23 years old, got two kids,
my
3
internal,
kids, 4 kids, 5 kids.
It's ticking down.
Yeah. We go to church and we make lemonade and like, you know, and everything is like pristine. And I'm like, oh shit, like I'm the fucking anomaly here. Like I'm the Sega Genesis here. I'm the Cartoon Network like down here and it's so weird. It's so weird.
So I didn't think of it either, but I was listening to David Feiss, and he was saying that the reason why they had to change, and we'll go into this in a little bit, but the reason why they had to change the red guy's name to the red guy was because they couldn't call him the devil. And he was like, well, why not? They said, you have to picture, I think they called it the Bible's belt or something like that. Or
Yeah, I've
like,
heard of that before.
Yeah, something like that, where like after a certain point, he's like, everything down there, you might not picture it, but they're super religious. And if they see the devil on here, you can't do it. And it makes sense too, because my best friend wasn't, one of my co-hosts on the show, Tony, he wasn't allowed to watch Cartoon Network growing up. And it was because his mom thought it was demonic. And I was like, that fucking red guy.
Yeah. And so, especially that first pilot episode, that shit was like adult rated. It had like Chicken had a cigarette fucking stash that Cal brought out. And she's like, yo, I'm gonna tell mom and dad you smoke cigarettes.
Wanna play Super Cow?
No!
Oh, come on.
Beat it!
I tell mom and dad you smoke.
I don't smoke!
Oh, yeah? Oh, mom and dad, guess what I found in Chicken's underwear drawer?
Okay, I'll play with you.
Were they in junior high or were they in elementary school?
No, elementary. So, fun fact, Chicken is supposed to be 11 years old and Cow is supposed to be 7 years old. A little problematic because I have seen Cow kiss adult men on the lips and I'm like, that's not.
Yeah, that's crazy. They're also in like the same school and there's no way you'd be in the same. Well, I don't know, maybe I don't know. But yeah, so like 11 years old smoking cigarettes, like that's wild even for somebody in New York. Like, you know, that's crazy. Like I used to live literally like 20 minutes outside Queens. Like an 11-year-old smoking cigarette. Like, what is this? A fucking like I don't even fucking know.
Damn, out of Queens. So, are you a LL Cool J fan?
I mean, of course. Why would I not be a LL Cool J fan?
My top dog. He's literally my number one. And once you said Queens, I was like, I gotta ask. So
yeah, I lived in Queens. Like when my mom and dad had me, we lived in Queens. We lived in Flushing, and we lived somewhere else. I can't remember. But then we moved to Long Island, West Hempstead. Shout out to West Hempstead. And my brother was, I think he was born in Long Island also. But yeah, West Hempstead is literally like with no traffic, you could get to Queens in like 10, 15 minutes. With traffic, maybe like 30. But but yeah, like so like that. Yeah, that first episode, crazy. He called himself the devil there. He was like, oh, I need to bring children down here.
Ooh, Cal's kind of a big guy. Maybe I'll just kidnap Chicken instead.
Oh, but Mr. Devil, the rules say they gotta do something bad before you can take him down here.
No problem. I'll offer him cigarettes.
Travis Live, a red team on alien planet surface, looking for strange phenomena.
Cigarette? Chicken?
Hey, sure. Don't take him. It's not the right thing to do. And Mom says to stay away from big naked guys.
Back off!
I'm a big chicken. Think I'm a little chicken?
No, I'm big. Gotcha!
Go! 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 No!
And I'm like, I loved it when I was a kid though. Like I understood that it was
like wrong. It felt wrong to watch. You know what I mean?
I understand. I you know, it did feel wrong, and that's how you want it to feel because you don't want to go to hell. You don't want to be with the devil, and it's like you don't want to be smoking.
Too bad it didn't work on me, and I ended up smoking cigarettes.
Oh shit! I definitely didn't. Yeah, but like like shit like that. Like that first pilot was insane,
and,
but it was good. Banned on TV or banned in certain areas.
Banned on TV was, from what I got the sense, everything I've looked up has said that it's a banned episode, but I will state that when I was listening to all those interviews of David, he didn't know that it was like a banned thing. He said and he was like, we didn't have any kind of codes or anything. We would put this out and send it to them, be like, it's okay. And they'd be like, you need to change that and that and that. So like he sent that out, that episode, and they kind of sent it back, and they're like, we like it, but he can't be the devil. And that was like the biggest
Yeah.
pushback he got. And he wasn't saying like,
Yeah.
even like them showing cigarettes, and the chicken gets that giant cigarette in the mouth and just woofs the entire thing down in half a second. I was like, oh my God, dude, that makes me want to throw up now.
So I saw that on TV though. I saw that on TV, and that's what made me like the fucking show.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah,
I can't
like
remember if I saw it on the TV.
I 1000% saw that on TV because again, like I used to refer to him as the devil, and I didn't even realize it up until now that they changed his name. And also he's kind of to the red guy, and he's also like a lot more lighthearted a little bit. Like he's still like mischievous and shit, but like he was pretty evil in the first pilot. But like I remember that, and me and my brother, like we always refer to him as the devil.
Me too. Yeah, I did too. I didn't know his name was the red guy. And when people would call him the red guy to me, I'm like, you mean the devil? And they'd be like, no.
Yeah, and they took away his tail. He used to have the devil's little pointy tail.
That's true. And now he can just
had the
bounce on his
pitchfork and
ass
shit.
easier.
Yeah, and now they took all that shit away. But
and they took his dog away because they gave him Cerberus.
Yeah.
And they took that shit away. And so one thing I did hear about the another thing that David was saying was they were like, one interviewer was like, so is it really that like the devil, or the red guy was trying to continuously steal Cow and Chicken's soul after that first episode? Like, did that pilot happen? And then every time we see him again, it's just, he's like, those ones that got away. And the creator said, no, he's just lonely. He just wants a friend.
Oh, nobody wants to play with me. I don't understand why.
And it's just like, he's just so lonely. He just wants Cow and Chicken to like be his friends. But also he like fucks with them more in like
I was going to say, I was like,
way.
I was like, this guy definitely just wants to fuck with Cow and Chicken and fuck with the kids. Like that, the Time Machine episode where Cow and Chicken go to the arcade and they put the quarters in the time machine and
I loved it
back in time. And then fucking the dude's like, yo, this is the primordial soup. Like, don't fuck with it, but like fuck with it at the same time. And he makes them like drop a quarter in there. And no, what was it first? Yeah, I think it
was a quarter, and then they all became quarter heads.
Everyone's a quarter head. Oh, we've got to go back in time to just before I dropped that quarter into the primordial soup and stop myself.
Yeah, they were like, I was like, we got to go back and stop you from dropping the quarter in. And then Cal almost falls in, and then he's fucking jumping on her, and she's like holding over the crater, and her udder is just about to almost touch the water. And I'll play a clip too. The red guy is like, oh, I can't wait for a bunch of udder heads to be created.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, that man was downright despicable, honestly. Yeah, he wanted friends, but no, you're right. He was a downright dirty dude.
While we're on the topics of devils and cartoons, have you watched it's new series, but not like new, Cuphead on Netflix?
Oh, only like it was a while ago. I want to say, is there more than one season? I felt like I finished the first season.
There's 2 seasons. But I'm not going to go into specifics, but that cartoon has a devil, and he literally wants to get the souls of Cuphead and Jugman. Mugman. Yeah, it's so crazy, and like I'm watching it with my kids. And I like it because like it's the art style that like we grew up with,
like old school Disney. It really reminds me
Disney, Looney Tunes, like
wearing the gloves,
Tex Avery,
the big
like
shoes.
all those shits. Yeah. But it's like very, very kiddish, but it's just like the devil is just trying to get these 2 fucking kids' souls. And again, that fucking reminded me of like that first episode of Cow and Chicken. But I'm like sitting there watching with my kids, and my kids are like 4 and 2.5, like about to be 3. And I'm like, damn, is this like a little bit too mature for them? And I'm like, fuck it. I grew up.
Yeah, they won't understand.
Yeah. So fucking good.
Oh, dude. Shit. And then if we're talking about more band episodes, I figured now would be the perfect time to talk about Buffalo Gals.
I don't remember this episode.
Okay, so Buffalo Gals, this is a fucking amazing episode. It is so funny. So what happens is at the very beginning of the episode, The whole family, cow, chicken, mom and dad, are in the kitchen. Out of nowhere, the door burst open. An entire motorcycle crew of people wearing like these buffalo masks come riding in. But like the buffalo masks have like the faces open, so you can see the full head inside the mouth of the buffalo.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Okay.
And so they come in and they start like immediately jumping all over the carpet and they start ripping it up with their teeth, the entire gang. And they're like, oh my God. Cal comes over and she's like, excuse me, sir, who are you? And a butch looking woman with like blue hair stands up and she goes, why, we're the Buffalo Gals. And then the mom's like,
Oh, the Buffalo Gals! A motorcycle riding gang that randomly bursts into people's homes and chews on their carpet.
And I was like,
so far, I'm rocking with it. It doesn't sound anything out of the ordinary for Cow and Chicken. But
I was like,
we getting to the
wow,
band
that's
stuff?
fucking wild. And so they really like Cal, right? You know, they're like, we like you. Here's our card. You come meet with us and you're going to hang out with us. So Cal ends up taking it, rides her little tricycle to their headquarters, and they're almost like at like a Burning Man, right? So, you know, she meets up with the people that like her. They all gathered arm in arm, almost like the Grinch, and they all start singing,
Buffalo Gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight, come out tonight. Buffalo Gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? Oh yes, pretty boys, we're coming out tonight. Coming out tonight, coming out tonight. Oh yes, pretty boys, we're coming out tonight and dance by the light of the moon.
And I'm like, oh my God, dude, this is fucking awesome. And so Chicken ends up showing up and he wants to save Cow from these girls.
Yeah.
And he's looking at her on a rock with binoculars. And I guess one of the lesbian women like find him and grab him. And right before he gets grabbed, he's like, I guess I have to save my fat sister. And she picks him up and she's like, you say that she's not fat, she's big boned right now. And then Chicken's like, she's big boned. And then she just like takes Chicken, hucks her into the sea of women, and they all look at him and they're like, we hate Chicken. Because they wanted to say cock, but because they're lesbians, they hate cock. And you know what I'm saying?
That's funny.
You know what I'm saying? And then
That's
Buffalo
funny.
Girls, won't you come out tonight? The lesbians coming out. That's their theme song to the biker gang. Is like, I was like, yo, that's fucking wild.
Save my fat sister. She's not fat, Mr. Man. She's just big boned. Say it. Say it.
Big boned.
Hey, guys! Look what I found spying on us!
Chicken?
Chicken! We hate chicken!
I could see why they canceled it. Yo, a show like that, an episode like that might thrive in today's world. They might as well release that.
Bro, I was sitting there and I was like, damn, this is kind of ahead of its time. And like, there's been a few episodes in here where like boys become girls, girls become boys. And they kind of were like predicting that like that might be a thing in the future.
You know what, Mama? It's times like this that make me proud to be a man.
Me too.
I feel like that in the 90s was like a form of being funny. And I know like now
100%. Yeah, it was the humor of them. Yeah.
It was humor. It was like, yo, when you see like a little kid being like an old grandma in the show, like it's funny, or old grandpa, or you know, like when Keenan and Kel used to do when they used to be like the old guys, like being out of character for yourself, like that was like a form of comedy. So obviously we're in today's age, but now people are kind of fighting against that, and they're like, oh, you like programmed our children or like shit like that. It was like, nah, it was just like something that was kind of funny, like you know.
Yeah, you gotta laugh at it. You can't take everything so seriously. It's just a cartoon, and like clearly it's just like meant to poke fun, but not in like a hurtful way, because they really kind of poke fun at everybody. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's how it should be. That's how comedy should be. Like when Keenan was the first of all, why do so many Did so many kids have like beef with lunch ladies? Like I thought I was like the only person that would like beef with like a lunch lady. But like when Keenan was the lunch lady who only served peas.
Yeah.
And then there was an episode in Cow and Chicken where the lunch lady was just serving ketchup. He was like, "Yo, I want meat." And they became
and
like
she
meat
just
dealers in the
throws
lunchroom.
fucking slop right on it, and they like send them away.
So fucking weird. So weird. It was like, yo, like when I was younger, I had a lunch lady. Like my mom would like do the prepaid lunch, like when I was in like elementary school. And then I don't know, something like fucked up and like my name wasn't on the list. And like my mom didn't give me money because she already paid for it. She was like, yo, your name's not on the list. Like you can't get lunch. And I'm like, bitch, I'll call CPS on this right now. You gonna have a fifth grader or fourth grader not eating food? Like I will call CPS on this whole school. I'll get this shit shut down. You better give me this freaking pizza and these carrots. Crazy.
Literally, like she's gonna lose her job because she gave a pass to a 5-year-old. You know what I mean?
Mad
like,
serious. Mad serious. Like
absolutely not.
Is this a fucking business? Like, are you trying to make profit off of us kids? Or are you just trying to provide us with food and, close the ends and then like whatever, but it's so weird, like me going through that, but it was only like a couple of times. But apparently that's like a huge theme. Like people like
literally when you pointed it out, I was like, damn, there are a lot of cartoons that do that. They're just shows in general where it's like the kids do not get along with we want a new menu. We want stuff that doesn't have mold on it. We don't want hairy broccoli. And they're like, too bad, move along.
What show? Oh, Degrassi, where the dude was beefing with the lunch lady. He like found a fly in the food or some shit, and nobody believed him. So he went and like brought his own bugs and put it in the food, and the lunch lady got fired, but he got caught. Like, like so many like forms of media just had us beefing with lunch ladies, yo. Crazy. Crazy. But
so
I don't know if I remember the Buffalo Gals. Like I gotta watch it. Like me looking at it. There was a couple of there was actually a lot of episodes that I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember the one where they had like the play and like Chicken like wanted the girl, but then like he was the runner up and then he got to be it, but then also the other girl, I think they got like chicken pox or some shit like that. So then Cal ended up being the girl lead or whatever.
That is actually one of the episodes I picked. Season 1, episode 5, The Ugliest Weenie, part 1. Then there's the, what's it called? I Am Weasel episode, IR Big Star. And then there was The Ugliest Weenie epilogue. And the reason why I chose this one was because it's the first one that I noticed that has a 2-part, like both the shorts connect to each other, carried over into the next story. And I thought that was cool. But he just wanted Chicken, the girl that was in the lead for the role was like,
She can. Cow has told me Mr. Fleur wants you to play the ugliest weenie, but you refuse. Oh, are you sure you won't reconsider? We would have many scenes together.
she's all like French about it. And, it's the one thing about like the cartoons back then is they weren't afraid to show the horniness of guys. And it's like something that you just don't see anymore. And it's true, dude. Like we were just like, we want kisses all the time. It was just something that we wanted. It's a lie to say that we got our shit together.
Yeah, I guess it's not weird in the context of a kid watching a kid show. It's definitely weird in the context of, these are adults that are writing this and drawing this shit for a kid show. It's weird in that context.
They should have made maybe Cow and Chicken a little bit older, because like even with the other classmates, they all look like they're 14, and then you have like the 11-year-old and the 7-year-old who, how are they, like you said, how are they in the same class?
Yeah, same class, same school. That's why I like the bully one, the bully episode.
I also have that as a favorite.
Yeah, they had the bully who was like making obviously picking on him, and then they had the even bigger bully, which is weird because this guy's got a fucking overalls on with the nipples showing out, mad muscles.
Oh my god!
I'm like,
dude.
First of all, you're a grown ass man. Like, why are you even in this school? And then he starts bullying everybody, and it's like, one thing about the 90s cartoons, I don't know if they do it now. I feel like cartoons now kind of emphasis more imagination or imaginative scenarios where they're like in space, like shit like that. Whereas like cartoons back in the day just took like real life situations that you would go in, but then just like kind of make it all crazy. Like everybody's dealt with a bully, right? Everybody has had a situation where the bully that was fucking with you, there was an even bigger bully that would bully them. And when they would get bullied, you would be hyped because it was like, yeah, now you know how it feels to bully us.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, dude. That's so it's funny, and it especially because like I love that episode. I was watching it last night. It's so funny. So he comes in, he's all fucking like super roided out, and he's bullying now the guy who's been picking on Chicken and Flem and Earl.
Yep.
And at the very end of the episode, Cal had found out that bully, the bigger bully, had went home, and Cal went and did like a little recon, and she noticed that she heard some like it deflating or something. So the next day he comes in, and then Cal's telling, like, he's picking on the other bully again, and Cal's like, now's your chance. So Chicken takes a pin and pops the giant bully, who had the squeakiest voice I've ever heard in my life. And that just that geeked me out in itself.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you. You got a banana in your mouth.
But then he didn't stop there. So then he turns around to the other bully. I'm like, oh, I bet he's going to like them now and they're all going to be friends. Nope. He pops the new bully. And then Chicken just goes nuts. He turns around to Cal, pops the teacher. And inside of everybody is like a little miniature version. Yep. And then when everyone else is popped, Chicken just looks at the camera and then pops his own ass and then gets chased off the screen because everyone's pissed that they're small now.
It's like, yo, that was kind of like a metaphor. It's like, yo, everybody has like a smaller version of themselves. So it's like, yo, you just got to humble yourself, man. You can't be all the time.
No.
Yeah.
Fucking bullies, dude.
Episode. What was another episode that I liked? We talked about the oh my God, the second episode with the prison. Bro, I have a healthy but unhealthy fear of prison. I never want to go to prison. I don't want anything to do with prison. The fact of being trapped in a prison when you're not supposed to be there is terrifying.
It's so funny. And I love sometimes in the cartoon with Cow and Chicken where like there's a certain look to the animation when they're up close, but when they pan the screen away, it's almost like they're elongated. Like Chicken's like beak gets a little bit longer and he just kind of has the two dots, and it like, you know, it's always funny looking, but there's the scene where the class takes a field trip to the prison. Chicken already has in his mind that he's going to like pose as a prisoner. He tells his two friends,
I can't believe we're going to prison. Way cool.
Yeah, maybe we'll see a riot.
I'm gonna pretend I am doing hard time.
There it is! The big house!
Let me see.
And so when they get there, one of the guys ends up taking his shirt off and Chicken puts it on, and the name is Red. And so all of a sudden he starts like making fun of somebody, and then the correction officer shows it. Shows up and he's like,
move it along. This is an exercise yard, so exercise. Jailbreak! Sound the alarm!
Eat dust, you filthy screw!
Way to go, Red! Walk down!
And so Chicken ends up pulling his pants down as a joke, and then saying riot break, and then he falls over, but he grabs Chicken and like hucks him into the prison. So the rest of the class goes away. They go home. Chicken goes in with the rest of the guys as they're all marching there, and it's that panned away look, and Chicken just he's down with it, right? He's like, this is where I'm going now. I am not going to argue it. I'm not going to be like, no, I'm just a boy. And then so Red, who Chicken took his shirt, puts Chicken's name tag on and tries to pretend to be Chicken. And I love, there's a scene on the bus ride home where Cal's looking at Red up and down and up and down. She's like, are you really my brother? And then he's like, yeah, can't you read?
Are you ready, Chicken?
Yup. Can't you read?
Quick, who are our parents?
Mom and Dad?
And she's like, good enough for me, and just puts her arm over him, and that's like it. She's not going to question it.
Your fucking memory is insane. Insane. It's almost like word for word. Like, how the fuck do you remember all this shit?
Oh, some of them I do, some of them I don't. It's the Adderall for the ADHD, honestly.
Yeah, man.
I was like, I got to make sure I was able to tell a couple of these, like I have good memory of them. But yeah, no, dude, that episode was so funny. And then turns out the warden,
prison anyway. Like,
yeah, why are you going there? Time for you kids to learn. Time to scare you straight.
Actually, that may work. Actually,
oh hey, right? They did the show on it.
Yeah,
I do love that the parents. One thing, going back to the pilot, so the entire series, you never actually see what the parents look like from the top up. And, you know, they were going for that real, like, Hanna-Barbera, Tom and Jerry looking, like, style where you never see the parents' legs. But at the end of the pilot, you actually see the top of them, and they have no top. They are just legs. And that's why when you see them answer a phone, or if they slam on the table, or if they're driving and stuff, you see them use their foot as the wheel and stuff. But you won't know that unless you saw the pilot, and they took the pilot out. I was saying, so maybe you saw it, but by the time I started watching it, it was probably gone at that point.
Oh, that's so crazy. Yeah, I saw that. Like, I don't know if you watched the original, what's it called? What are cartoons?
What a cartoon. Like
yep. Yeah. I don't know if you I remember What a Cartoon.
Oh yeah, dude. I remember they would start off with the roller coaster across the checkered and go dun 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 cartoon, and like Ed and Eddie or Cow and Chicken or Courage would pop out of like one of the letters, and they would be the one who would say it.
So I think What a Cartoon had a different intro than that. That is when they were like when it became cartoon.
Oh, how did What a Cartoon start?
I don't remember, but I remember that coming afterwards. Maybe if I could like look it up or something. But yeah, so like I 1000% remember seeing because obviously we didn't have fucking internet, so where else would I fucking see it?
Right.
But yeah, I remember seeing that the pilot episode. And I remember seeing that the parents had no top. So like I knew that the whole time watching Cow and Chicken. I knew that was the
so me and my buddy Tony had just started watching them like maybe a week ago. We started watching a bunch together, and we went on YouTube and we found the original pilot, and then we watched it. And, you know, the animation's a little rougher, thinner, like thicker lines across the characters and everything.
I love that animation.
It was so good. I wish they kind of kept it like that. Cause like, not that I don't like what they did for the series, but that was like so pristine. It was awesome.
Yeah. You see that with a lot of pilots because
Rocco's did it.
Yeah. Rocco's did it. Like they make it. And then it's like so far in between from actually getting like the green.
Because that's what they're pitching to the company. Yeah. They're like, hey, here's the show and the premise that we're thinking of. What do you guys think? And they're like, all right, let's tweak it.
Yeah. And you can do a lot more work with a 6-5 minute, like, you know, one shot to where it's like you putting your heart and soul into that shit to make it look good because you got to sell this shit.
Exactly.
Or on the flip side, it's like, yo, let's like do this shit quick. And then when we get the money, then we could like up the scale. So it kind of goes both ways. You know, I could see it, but yeah, I 1000% saw that shit on TV.
Yeah, that's great, dude. Yeah, it must have been gone by the time. And just like with the Buffalo Gals, they actually take that out and replace it with a episode that was later in the series, the orthodontist one. You know, where the red guy gives them all braces.
Mm-hmm.
So he like shows up as like a cop.
I remember them getting braces. Yeah,
it's the weirdest thing. So they're just in the car and driving, the whole family, and he's a motorcycle cop, and he pulls him over. After he pulls him over, he looks at Cow and Chicken, and he's like, also, I'm an orthodontist, and your children's teeth look fucking terrible. I'm gonna fix it for you.
License and registration, please.
Certainly, officer.
You two in the back, step out of the car! Open your pork traps. Oh, no!
Is Is everything okay?
No! Everything is not okay! Look at these teeth! They are an abomination!
What's going on, Dad?
Well, Mom, these kids need braces. Right now!
I don't think.
You don't think what? Oh, what are you people? A bunch of communists? Listen, Dad, helping freaks of nature like your kids is my calling. I am an orthodontic policeman.
So he puts braces on both of them, but then he starts going crazy. He starts putting braces on everybody, and Cow and Chicken are trying to stop him. He even Earl shows up, and Earl already had braces. He's like,
I was on my paperwork, and I got pulled over by the orthodontic police. The thing is, I already have braces on anyway.
and he just like, they all get that neck thing connected to him too, so they can't move, and shit's so
I remember
funny.
that episode. I remember that. I remember it like vaguely, but I remember it.
The parents were awesome. I love the parents. Maniacal. I didn't realize how evil the parents. These are probably some of the worst parents I've seen in cartoons. Compare them to Dexter's parents. Compare them to like Jimmy or Timmy Turner's from Fairly Odd Parents. There's numerous times where like these parents will kick Cow and Chicken out of the house and maniacally laugh, knowing that they're not coming back. Or like they'll just like, one episode they see an ad for military school, or I think it was a newspaper.
Yep.
And they're just like, you know what?
What a mess!
You got that right. We've got a real discipline problem here. You kids are going to military school tonight. It made men out of Mom and me.
Don't come back. And they literally drive up, kick them out, and that's it.
And then they fucking come back, and now they're like the fucking drill sergeants in the house.
Yeah, and they're like trying to clean everything.
It. Yep.
They're like, damn, what did we created monsters, dude. And then they try and send them to get like everything that they just did from military school fixed by sending them to like a place that has them get all in touch with their feelings.
School.
Which the red guy runs. And so he's the one that's fucking everything up.
Oh, he ran the fucking military school too.
Yeah, I was like, damn, they gave him two separate roles in that one cartoon. That one was so funny. There's another episode too where they see the circus, and again, I'm mixing them up. One was on the TV, and then I think the circus was in the newspaper, and they're like, the circus, hey, you guys should go join the circus. And Cow and Chicken are like, what? And then the very next scene is them getting kicked out of the car at the circus, and the parents are and I do mean a maniacal laugh. And I'll put that post podcast too. That thing is so funny. They're just like, goodbye. I was like, damn, dude, they hate their kids.
Oh boy, the circus!
Why don't you kids run off and join the circus?
But we do not wish to do that.
Well, kids, have a great time!
Now, Nick, when I was younger, when I didn't have kids, I would 1,000% agree with you. But as a parent, and as a parent of two kids, one 4 years old, one 3 years old, I understand the comedy in the parents. I understand it just a little bit. Like there was an episode, like, you know, when your kids fight and like one kid may start it and then the other one tells you and tells you and you're like, oh, what the fuck happened? And you ask the other one, he's like, oh, he started it. And you're just like, yo, just leave him alone. Like leave him alone. Stop arguing, because you get to that point as a parent where it's just like, yo, I don't care what happened. Just both of you guys stop. Like, both of you stop. And I understand it. It's like, yo, sometimes, like, I want to send my kids to military school, and my kids are 4 and 3. Like,
I was about to ask, would you rather go military school or to the circus?
I feel like one needs to go to military school. I feel like both of them need to go to military school. And then maybe I would send my son to sensitivity school, because he's a maniac. He's like Donnie from the Wild Thornberrys. Like,
I love it.
He jumps on everything, climbs on everything, hits, throws. Like he's so like wild, so much energy. But yeah, it's like, yo, once you become a parent, like you start to have like these little like I can understand a parent like, and I don't know if Dave Feist Feast
Feist
was a
Feast.
parent when he made this. Like I'm gonna assume so, because like when you're writing shit like that, that's like dark comedy for a parent. And only a
he
parent
was,
would
because
under-
originally the series was
like you
story
said, he
time
wrote
for
it
the
his-
daughter.
Yes, and I think he also like I think you said that it was boyfriend and girlfriend at the time, but then when he started to write this, he started to make it that it
Brother,
was
sister.
his brother and sister. Again, I got a son and daughter. 1000% understand the comedy in the parents, and you may not understand it with your first, but if you decide to have a second one, when you have 2 kids, especially 2 under 2, that's when your patience and your parent and like all of that stuff goes out the window.
But then like you get the parents of Cow and Chicken, you get to the parents of Dexter, you get to the parents of Timmy Turner or Jimmy Neutron. Not so much, because Jimmy's mom is pretty like lit. She's got her shit together, but like how stupid a lot of these cartoons make the adults, or how much they don't care. And then you go back and you watch Rugrats, you're like, all these parents care. They're just so stressed out all the time.
Yep, that's exactly.
Unlike
and
Cow and Chicken's
goes,
parents who just want to kick them out.
Well, it's like, yo, sometimes you feel like that as a kid too. It's like, yo, sometimes I'm just like, yo, you two get the fuck out the house and like go in the backyard, play with water, do something. Just leave me and your mom alone for 2 seconds. Like yo, I get all of the aspects, and like these are different emotions that like you'll go across, and like obviously like it'll be shit that you and your wife go through in private, because like you're not gonna like show it out. I don't know, maybe you would, because you're up north, so it's like they're like here and down south. I feel like people like kind of like portray like the pristine selves, and maybe they're different at home. But me, I don't give a shit. Like if my daughter's acting up in public, like I'm gonna be like, yo, Jade, like you need to chill out, because I'm gonna put you in timeout and I'm gonna take away all your shit.
Oh my god, my dad was the notorious for the wait till we get home, and you were like, damn.
Yep, insane. But and I kind of like to sum everything together. That's what I feel personally is so special about those early cartoons from the 80s, but definitely the 90s, because I felt like they took like real world or real life situations and they just kind of made like an adventure out of it, as opposed to a lot of the cartoon, not everyone, but like a lot of the cartoons that I see now, it's just all imagination, that's still fucking great as well. It's just a different way of telling stories, but it's just like all imagination. You don't get the like a Rugrats where it's like the kids are like building a fort in the basement and you think there's like a ghost down there, and like it's really not a ghost, but like just like little tiny things like that.
Right, but like they're actually going on those adventures, even though to them it's a fantasized thing. It's still them going and physically doing things, and just like Cow and Chicken, Dexter's, like they still go on all these adventures. They're still out in the wacky world.
Yep. All of that shit, man. So, yeah,
dude.
Good,
there's something to be
time.
said about the '90s, and there's something to be said about Cow and Chicken. It had a very special place in animation history, with as brief as it was. All these great names that it brought together that you would never expect to be together in a cartoon, and just making us love something for so long. And each episode, before we'd start wrapping everything up and stuff, we do a letter scale from F to A+. So if you had to sit there and definitively give a letter to Cow and Chicken, where would you place it?
A letter to Cow and Chicken. If I could rate it with its peers, what I would do, I feel like I would give it, it's going to be cliche, I feel like I would give it a B-.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very close to me. I was going to give it a B, like a solid on the dot B. I feel like it's just wacky enough where I can see it kind of swaying some people away. So I don't know if I could put it in an A category, because I feel like it's not for every single person. But overall, the story's funny. The gags are funny. The voice acting's funny. It's just a funny show, and it's one that we grew up with. So it's hard when you look at these to like kind of take off those nostalgia glasses.
Yeah. I feel like although there are like really, really like funny and great points to certain episodes, there are other series that like have like definitive moments where it's like they're like gonna be gags like throughout your whole entire life. Like I think of like Rocko's Modern Life, like the episode where there was the ghost and they had the super soakers with the the ghost. Like that's an iconic episode. Like the choky chicken, like the episode.
The spanking monkey that they had both of them.
Yeah, another character that had an extremely fat ass heifer wolf.
Oh yeah,
massive.
Yep. Love heifer.
Yeah, just like little moments. Like I mean, there's so many moments with Rugrats. Like Rugrats is definitely like A plus. So like if I'm like grading it on like a scale like that, yeah, I would say Cow and Chicken's definitely like a B-. Like it's a good show. Not bad at all. Definitely have fun watching it. Definitely nostalgic as fuck. But yeah.
Yeah, I like when it came to my decision, I was really like, and I personally love Cow and Chicken, so I wanted it up there in the B, but when I start thinking about like, there were points with like Dexter's Lab where like I would be laughing, and then for some reason they could like shift it into being like a more, not necessarily like a serious moment, but like you know, things could happen and it could like touch in your heart a little bit, and you're like, what the hell? What? I was just laughing my ass off a minute ago. What are we doing here? And like that's A material. Batman the animated series is like such an action show, but it was written so well that like you could sit there and feel all kinds of emotions.
That's an A+ series right there. A+.
Oh, one of my top 3.
Any series that I use the theme song and I get flagged on Facebook or Instagram for copyright, gotta be A+. Gotta be A+.
That's why I stuck with the whole podcasting thing. I was like, you're not getting me on Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah, podcasts you could get away with damn near anything, but
Facebook's so bad too, because then like once you start creating your own like business platform and stuff, you get all those fake bots that are like, hey, we're flagging your show for this copyright, and then they would show like my own logo that we created, and I'm like, are you guys? We literally created that from scratch. What do you fucking get out of here?
They basically want you to like reach out to them just so they can like hack your account. Yeah.
Like, make sure if you don't put out a thing right now and message us and ask what you need to do, then we're gonna shut your whole thing down. I'm like, do it.
Yeah. I make sure you got the 2-step verification. I got the Google authentication.
Oh yeah.
And I'm Meta verified also, so I got that to back up. So yeah.
Yeah, dude, I was like, this is going to be such a banger episode. This was so fun talking to you about Cow and Chicken. It was just good to take a step back from the superheroes. But hey, man, if you would ever want to come back on the show, if there's a cartoon you could think of, let me know. If you want to, like, even we can plan it out for months ahead, and that way we can have like enough time to watch the seasons and pick out our favorites and stuff like that.
I mean, I got a couple I'm thinking of, but I want to wait because I don't want to mention them and then somebody listen to this and then you have them as a guest and they're like, yo, I want to do that. So it's like,
or if you tell me now, I can tell them no early on because I could say that one's already taken.
Interesting. All right, cool. We're gonna have to talk.
Yeah. No pressure. But there's a lot of, and I know you're into superheroes and all that stuff, and there's a lot of old ones that I'm still willing to go into. There's one in particular. Have you ever heard of this show? It was called Stripperella. It was a Stan Lee created.
That already sounds inappropriate.
Dude. So it was apparently Stan Lee created the series specifically for Spike TV. And for our younger listeners who wouldn't know this because of all the streaming, Spike TV back in the day was like the man's channel. It was like anything that was like, it was meant for men. It was like the manliest men shows, the funniest men shows, and everything. So Stan Lee created this superhero that didn't work, and it was essentially Kim Possible but not Kim Possible. She's a stripper instead of a cheerleader. So she uses like her acrobatics from stripping, but she's like got the costume on and stuff like that. There's a ton of them out there. There's Earthworm Jim I want to check out. The Max I'd like to check out.
I actually do. I never seen it. I mean, I've never like watched it, but I've seen it. I've definitely seen Stripperella before.
Oh, dude, it was, I never got to. I was too young, I think, before like I was able to stay up late enough probably to watch it. I don't know what year it came out. I'm assuming maybe 01 or something.
Have you done SWAT Cats?
No, I have not.
Reserve that. Anybody listening to this, I got it. That's
I'm
mine.
down.
SWAT Cats.
You guys heard it from right there. SWAT Cats is the next episode. B minus, dude.
Fire. Thank you.
Hey, no, thank you, dude. And I'm so hyped, especially because I've already done a little research on that show. And allegedly, there's supposed to be a reboot coming up pretty soon. But I haven't checked it in a while.
If it's not on the same level animation-wise, I don't want to watch it. I know there was... I think they tried to reboot... Oh, there was something that was SWAT Cats like, and the animation was like atrocious.
I want to hope that they go down the route of X-Men 97, where they can bring it back as a continuation, but because of all the new just software, just the editing systems and everything they can do, because that X-Men 97 was beautifully animated. It literally, I was watching it, and I was like, this is a fucking anime. This is an anime, dude. This is literally... I was like, it's so good. It's so good.
So
That's
good.
an A+ series.
Yeah, A+, S tier, high ranking, like so like beautifully done. I know season 2 is going to be fire, but we got to see if they're able to pick up from after firing Bo DeMeo. And
well, allegedly he worked on most of season 2. They're just not putting the credit of him on season 2 because of the whole whatever. He was sending pictures of whatever out to people, and
this guy was sending allegedly he was sending pictures of himself in like a bikini to like all the artists and was like, yo, if you need a inspiration body modeling for Beast and Wolverine, just use me. And he was like, fuck it, yo, if you need it for Jean Grey and Jubilee, use me also. Like, he was going crazy allegedly.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't getting those fucking messages. Just be like, he's good on DeMeo. What's up? Oh my god, what the fuck?
Crazy. But yeah, that series is like, I was shocked. I was afraid at first because I was like, I don't want them to mess this up. But no,
oh my god, I know
my expectation.
All right, and so on that note, SWAT Cats. That's what we're gonna do for the next time. I'm excited. I'm gonna start watching episodes tonight. And at that point, bro, thank you for joining us. This has been a phenomenal episode. Cow and Chicken, a B- cartoon, which we highly recommend you guys check out. You can find the series on... Basically, you have to pay for it on YouTube or Apple Plus or Amazon. Because other than that, it was really, really hard for us to find.
Or
I know
you could
that
be like me and try to find it and pirate it somewhere and just eat the pop-ups that pop up.
Oh my god! And you better believe I was trying. Actually, I found one that was completely free. But I think there was like a quick pop-up. It was weird. It had like the entire surrounding of the cartoon was all Naruto stuff, but then it was like Cow and Chicken was showing. I was like, this is just weird to look at.
Yeah, leave it to the anime community to figure out how to get you some shit for free.
Yeah, damn right, dude. But all right, B-, you have a wonderful night, buddy. And before you go, would you like to do any kind of promote your YouTube, your podcast, and just like, tell the fans where they can find you?
BminusTV on everything. Just follow me. Facebook is probably my hottest platform. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Also YouTube as well. But yeah, definitely Facebook is where I'm the most active. And Nick, man, thank you. This has been fucking fun. Definitely super nostalgic going down this 90s road. I'm definitely hyped for the next episode for SWAT Cats. And
let's go.
Yeah, man, I like what you're doing, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for coming on, and thanks for joining me on this retro journey, my friend. You have a wonderful night.
All right, later.
All right, peace, dude.
wanted to give it back.
But I have crabs right here.
Then what do I got?
Oh. Well, I guess they can be my friends then.